Morning, Amber, Blooms on the Hill, and I've got my wedding flowers to do this week. It is Thursday and got some flowers arriving today from the wholesaler. I actually really don't need it, but I had to get specific pink roses, and so it was just easier to order it from them. It's only a very little wedding, so I've just got to do a bouquet for the bride and a buttonhole. And then I'm going to do, it was my suggestion, because that's all she could, she's on a really tight budget. And I did suggest to her that her bridesmaids have a single flower, a single rose to hold each. Otherwise they'd be walking down the aisle feeling really awkward with their hands with nothing to do. So there's just going to be 4 pale pink roses as well. So right now I'm just about to let the sheep out. They're in the yards. I'm just going to let them around the sheds because the grass is really long. It's getting really snaky, so they can come in here and eat it down for us. Morning, ladies. You hungry? I think that's a yes. All right, guys, off you go. Go. Go down and get the rest. And we'll just milling around. Oh, you're very stinky. Don't run away. Go the other way. Off you go. Off you go. Off you go. Come on. They all bounce through the gateway. It's funny. Going down to get my cow. Gonna milk the cow again. Always be milking the cow. Yeah, beautiful day, which is a change. We've had really cold weather. It's hard to believe that it's like summer in a couple of weeks. Yesterday I had about 6 layers on. The last couple of days I've had 6 layers on. It's been really rainy and overcast and horrible, but today is good. I think we're in for a bit more rain though. And I can't find my cows. I'm still waiting for Missy Moo to calve. She's as big. She's like one of those. It's on YouTube. One of those round animals. Look up round animals. It's hilarious. She looks like that. So they're in amongst the trees. Anyway, so she's due to calve any day. She's bagging up, so hopefully it's soon. But anyway, milk the cow and do sunflowers today. They're all just hanging out together. There's a little calf I reared, and there's another couple just here. They're all hanging out in the shade, just not wanting to do anything. I've got to milk you, Nina. Missy Moo's contemplating. She's the one on the left here, contemplating having that calf. I swear there's about 4 in there. Anyway, come on. Good girl. Okay, it's up the wrong way, but my flowers have arrived from Melbourne and suburbs, so I'm just going to put them in water. Okay, here's the first lot of roses. They're called Sweet Alluring, and there's just a hint of very blush pink in those. All right, these ones are called Sandstone. It's probably hard to see the colour. That's a very, very soft blush as well. These have got massive, long 60cm stems. Wow, these ones are pretty big. These heads of these roses. These ones are called Maestro, so they're a lovely, just a cream. They're so nice, and these have got massive, big, long 60cm stems, which is sort of too big for me, really. But it's just to get these special roses, they just come with the long stems. I also ordered some white Alstamira and just some gyp. I've never ever ordered this before, but the pictures the bride sent me, the photos of the 2 bouquets had gyp in it, so I thought, well, better get some of that. And her theme was pink, like pale pink, white and green, so nice limited palette. So I've got to go out and find some just pink and white stuff, really, and a bit of foliage. Right, so I've what have I done? Milk cow, had breakfast, I don't know, let sheep out, did all sorts of stuff. I've taken some bouquets down to the bakery, and now I'm going to harvest. I've put all those roses in my son's bedroom, which is the cool room in the house, And so now I'm just going to go for pale pink and white things and some nice fresh bright greenery. And that's it. Shouldn't take me too long. Yeah, and I think I might grab some of these foxgloves. I actually just saw a bee disappear up one. There are some shorter spikes. This one's a massive one. But yeah, I'll get some shorter spikes. Hopefully some of these still hang on next week. I mentioned in my last video that hopefully I've got these for the next wedding because she's having meadow boxes. But there are a couple of slightly smaller ones. So the corn cockle's perfect. I've got white and I've got blush, so I can get some of both. I found a pink cornflower, and then I've got Sweet William here, so I've got white, and there's some, see if I can find some pale pink bits. I think there's one over there. I've got quite a few bits of Sweet William, pink ones and white ones, and it's nice because it brings in that green as well. They're often very green. And then there's some pinks, sweet pea. I've got white too, so you can get some of that as well. I've got white statice, which is good. The statice has just started opening up in the last couple of weeks. It's such a handy thing to grow because it's nice, it fills things out. I've also found a darker pink rose, so we'll see if that fits in. I do have all those other roses, there's heaps of roses, but they're very pale, the ones I bought, so we probably need a little bit of darker pink, although that comes in with these things. Anyway, we'll keep harvesting. And there is one scabiosa. It's opened. I'll grab that. I have a few white snaps and pale pink ones and darker pink, so we can get a mix of those. I've got a very soft silvery pink straw flower, and there's a couple of slightly darker ones. They're sort of not really open enough. But they might be okay. You can prop them up. They tend to sort of flop their heads if they're not quite ready, but I can wire them, so they'll do. Might grab an extra one for the buttonhole. Straw flowers great in buttonholes. Larkspur's doing well, but I have a nice pink one opening up, so we'll grab that. It's really windy now. It's really nice picking in a colour palette like this. Just a really, really simple, restricted, makes your bucket of flowers look good. Still have all this tricolour salvia popping up everywhere. None of this I actually sowed. So once you've got it, you've definitely got it. So, but I've still got white bits, which will be good to add as a little pop here and there. So I'm going to grab some Persian cress because it's got the little white flowers on the end. It is starting to go to seed, so you get the little seed heads, which are cute too. So they'll be nice. And then I'll get some of the apple mint because that's nice and soft. There's my washing on the line, ignore that. There's a few more cornflowers just down from the washing. I can see a whitish looking one. I'll have a look if there's anything in the front garden, but to be honest, that's quite a lot of material, plus those roses, and there's the alströmera and the gyps, so I'd say we have enough stuff. Just going to check my peonies. Everything's getting very wind blown. Check that there's no ants on them because they're very bitey. You might do. There's another one over here. There's a peony in it, would be nice. The ant check. Yeah, we might maybe go for this one. I found a nice rose as well. So there's the peony, and I'm gonna actually get peppermint instead of that mint because the peppermint's a little bit darker with its green, and I've got some stock in my, well, what was my hoop house. So these roses are lovely. They're all a bit too open. They're not gonna last till Saturday. This is my sad hoop house that all fell apart. I was meant to take the cover off it, and all the snaps I had growing in here that were growing beautifully and up towards the light and nice and straight, of course they've all got blown over, and they're growing whichever way they like. So anyway, there's a bit of stock in here. There is another piece of pink larkspur. I might just take that, but I reckon I've got well and truly enough stuff. Okay, I've got a massive bucket of flowers. Kept the buttonhole in mind when I was harvesting this time. Last time I didn't. So there's a straw flower there and a bit of salvia for the buttonhole, and I don't know what else. The peppermint wouldn't be good in a buttonhole. I've got to sear that so it doesn't go floppy. It does last really well in a bouquet and holds its shape really well, but I'm not too sure how it would go out of water as a buttonhole, so we won't do that. We'll try and think of, actually, or maybe just thinking maybe a bit of sweet pea foliage, but really it's quite difficult trying to keep things that don't flop for a buttonhole. So anyway, I've got cornflowers. Straw flowers are definitely great, but it's the bit of green that I want because she wants the white and green and pink. Ignore that, it's my washing machine. Actually, some cress might be nice in the buttonhole. It's always hard. So I'm gonna sear some of this. Some of it needs to be because it'll go a bit floppy otherwise. And then I'm just gonna let it sit for a few hours, and I'll put it in my son's room, in the nice cool dark room there with the rest of the stuff, and then we'll do this afternoon. Okay, so I've seared the ends of the mint and the straw flowers, and I always do the salvia because I'm not sure about that, so I do it anyway. And what else did I do? I think that was it. So I've added extra water to the buckets, and now I'm just going to put them in my son's room in the dark, let them sit and condition for a while. Normally, like ideally, you'd want things to condition for about 24 hours. But she's coming to pick these up tomorrow in the middle of the day. So I really want to do these bouquets like later today so that they're ready. I could do them in the morning, but I just don't want to rush myself because I have to milk the cow and do all of that. And but yeah, look, they should be fine. They'll just go straight back into water and in the dark, but we're just going to let them sit for a few hours now. Right, it is about 2:30 now, so got all of this out of the bedroom. It's a lot of material, so there's lots of roses. Each bunch has got 10 stems in it, which obviously I don't need all of those. And the alstroemer and the status is over the back here, and all the stuff that I cut. So I'm not going to use it all, otherwise the bouquet would be like this. But the great thing about having lots of material that you're looking at when you're going to work with something is I've got lots to choose from, and like just certain stems will fit better, and it's nice to have a greater variety of things. So the smaller roses here in the front, these are the ones for the bridesmaids. I haven't cleaned up any of these stems yet, so I need to strip them and get all the leaves off and the thorns. So I'll do that now, which is a little time consuming. And then we'll just get into it then. So I've done the stems, and I've gone through and just chosen 4 of these. Were the shorter, smaller ones, these roses. They actually have a fragrance, they're lovely. And I went for the ones that had the bigger heads. So these will be for the 4 bridesmaids. So I've left the foliage on. I don't know whether she's going to want the foliage on. I think they might actually look better with the foliage, but if she doesn't like the foliage, we can just pull it off when she comes and to pick them up. This is one of my old, well, I use these for my milk, and this bottle's actually got a little bit of a crack on the up here at the top. I smashed another bottle against it, so she can just take that and have that. So that might be a good way for her to transport those. Put that in there, and I might see if I've got some off-white ribbon, like a thin piece, whether or not she wants ribbon around them. If I can find some, I could put some on, and then once again, if she doesn't like it, she can just take it off. So we'll add some water to this. I've just put those roses back in the house because it's a bit cooler in there, and we're going to get going with this. So I think we'll just start with some foliage and just build. We might go a bit of alstroemer. I'm just crossing the stems over. I don't twist it anymore. I used to cross the stems and then twist when I did bouquets and then keep building around that way, but I usually just put one on one side and then one on the other, but at the back, so it's a similar thing, but just without all that moving your hands around. What shall we go for? Here's some, this is going to end up looking very cottagey, I think, with all the Sweet William and all the bits in it. I'll try and space out these roses as well, and I'll try and get that peony fairly centered, not dead center because that would look a bit silly, but these roses are beautiful. I've got this so I'm just gonna try and keep the colors fairly mixed, I think, so it's not all, you know, one big blob of white or one big blob of pink. And I'll just keep adding. It's going to be really pretty when it's finished. I've got to remember to use the jip as well, because the picture she sent me had the jip sort of all interspersed all throughout. This looks like it's going to be fiddly to work with. I'm not going to love it, I can tell. And it's, see, that's one piece. It's got quite a lot on it. So that's see, that's too fluffy. So I'll just have to remove some bits, I think. Oh, okay. Yep, we'll remove some of that. And yeah, so it's just a little bit less of a clump and more of like a, I don't know, just like a sparkle, I suppose, throughout. Anyway, I'll keep plugging and then I'll come back and update with you. Okay, plugging along, got the peony in, and that's sort of like part of it. It's very pretty, very pink and white and green. I'm actually enjoying doing this one. It's very, very pretty. Okay, this is how we're going so far. And I really need to look in a mirror because this is really hard to see what it looks like. If it's the right sort of shape. It sort of seems to be a bit of a front like that. It's so pretty. I've tied it off and I had to go in and show my boys because you sort of look at it for too long and then you get flummoxed. You don't know what's going on. And then, so I come up with that. And one of my boys just said it needed something up this end. He said, you need a bigger flower up there. So I popped a rose in there. I think it needs to be sort of poked down just a fraction, maybe. Ooh, what did that do to it? No, it's all good. That's better. Yeah, it's got that jip in it. The center, I managed to put that little bit of scabbiosa in there. There's my peony. If I can get that up a little bit, that would be, without ripping the head of it off. Maybe shifting. There we go, that's better. I've lifted that up a little bit higher. And there's my sort of standard sweet pea poking out the side, which hopefully doesn't fall off. But there we go. I'm quite happy with that, I think. Go and look at it for a bit. It's a good shape. I'm happy with how it looks. It's very pretty. Very pretty. And there's a bug in there. Get out of the rose. Oh no. Don't get into the folds of the rose. Oh no, that's bad. I'll see if I get some tweezers and try and get that thing out of there. Okay, so now I'm going to, I don't know, it's nearly 4 o'clock. It hasn't taken me all of this time to, I think I started at 2:30. It hasn't taken me all that time to make this bouquet because I had a lady come to pick up some tubers that she wanted. So I had a nice tuber sale there, which was good. Just put that, oh, there's a bug crawling down my shirt. I can feel it running down my, ugh. It fell out the bottom. Oh, that was horrible. Sorry about that. That was weird. I'm going to photograph this. So I'm going to put the ribbon on it. I've got a towel. I'll wipe the stems. Otherwise it makes a big old mess. And I will get some photos of it. Make sure you always take photos of everything. And then I'm going to do this buttonhole. And then I'm going to have a look for, see if I can find some ribbon for those bridesmaid flowers, but I've got a fair bit of the roses left and cut material, so I can just do up some bouquets for the bakery. I took some down this morning, but I can do some that are very pretty like that. It would be nice if I had some bouquet orders now, then I could just use these good roses so they don't go to waste, but it's all good. So that's, I've left the ribbon long, so when the bride comes tomorrow to pick all this up, she can tell me where she wants that cut. She might want it dangly, she might want to attempt a bow, maybe not, or cut it right short. We'll decide that, and then we'll cut those stems shorter too, but that fits nicely in the little test tube so it can drink overnight, and then the ribbon's not in the water. So see, she could even cut that later too, so I'll do that when she comes. Like, I'll either tell her to cut it short, she might not remember, so if she feels like she's going to do that, then I might cut it short for her. But since I get to see her and in time to discuss this sort of stuff, because mostly when you drop stuff off, like last week I didn't even get to see the bride. She was getting her makeup done, so I didn't get to see the reaction when she saw the flowers. She did message me a few days later and said she loved them, so that was great. But you normally don't get the opportunity to talk about, do you want these ribbons like this, and little things like, little details like that are just so little that it's not really important, like but if you get the opportunity like this to sort that out, so she can, as I said, figure out what she wants to do with the ribbons on these roses, and do we want to keep the leaves or not. But anyway, so that's done. Everything's going in the cool, and next week I'll have another wedding, much bigger. There's going to be lots of bouquets, lots of buttonholes, meadow boxes, and vase arrangements for all the aisle and all everything. So I'll see you then.